Yeah. I remember. What to do, man? It's your boy Battle Truth, man. I'm starting this new series called My Very First Time. Well, I'm going to give y'all my very first times of a lot of things I experienced in my life. My very, very first time. And I want to first start this out with giving y'all the very first time I copped a brick. I copped the key of dope. This is my past life. For those of y'all who've been following me, y'all know I used to sell a lot of dope. I ended up going to prison behind my actions, and God saved my life. God saved my life in prison. This has been like over 20 years ago now. And I thank him. You know, I wouldn't change nothing at all. He used it. So let's get off into it, man. I'm trying to see how I really want to start this. So I remember how this all played out, right? So I was dealing with this dude, my one guy. You know, I like the fact I could use all this now. You know what I'm saying? So I used to get work or a cop from this one brother named Hanif. I used to cop from Hanif. So as I used to cop from this brother Hanif, he ain't in the game no more. I could use all this stuff. So I used to cop from Hanif. And it's crazy. This reminds me of like the movies. You know, I like you watch these shows now, and they seem like they always need to write in the script of somebody who either stutter real bad or somebody who dumb as hell. Well, in this particular story, the guy I used to cop from, his name was Hanif. He had a bad stuttering problem. It was crazy. He had a bad stuttering problem, but he was a rapper. And I remember he came to the studio, right? So I was recording him in the studio. Oh man, that session was long as hell because he had a stuttering problem. So he was stuttering through all his raps. I'm like, damn, bro, like it got so bad. I had to tell one of my other engineers, I was like, hey man, take over this session for me. He was like, all right, because he had just came in and had no idea. He said, all right, I had already been sitting there for hours. I'm talking about, man, you couldn't punch him in. Man, it was crazy. So my engineer dude come in, I turned it over to him. So now he recording them, and I went to go do something else. He ended up coming to get me, my engineer dude, like, hey, man, you didn't tell me dude would be stuttering, man. This gonna be long. I was just rolling because I had already been that long. But anyway, me and Hanif became real cool, man. I forgot how I even met him. But anyway, I used to cop from him. I used to get 4.5 ounces from him. Started out getting 4.5 ounces from him. So as I was getting that from him, then what ended up happening was I was copping crack from him, 4.5 ounces of crack. Because see, at this time, I wasn't too hip on the powder game. The crack game was just going hard. And if I knew the things, I didn't really know that much like that. I was just making money off the crack, selling the crack. But if I knew then, you know, before doing that, I wouldn't have bought it in crack. I would have bought it in powder. See, powder is the best way to cop dope like that because you could stretch it and you could determine the grade that you put out there. But at that time, I just didn't care because I started out selling a little 8-ball here, then a 1/4 ounce here, then a 1/2 ounce here, and I just get that, and I was getting that in crack. So I started out getting it in crack till I got up to 4.5 ounces of crack. So when I'm getting 4.5 ounces of crack, I'm going through Hanif. So my body's popping. So if my body's popping, and I'm, at this time, like I said, I got the spot jumping. I'm copping 4.5 ounces. You know what I'm saying? So, I was talking to this girl. I was talking to the girl named Mildred, and when I was talking to Mildred, there was a guy that lives across from where I was tipping from. We call it tipping out here. Where I was tipping at, trapping for those of y'all in other places. So there was a guy who lived across the field from me where I was tipping at. And I had the area at that time. And when I had the area at that time, he was a part of this other crew that was somewhere else. But I was the man in his neighborhood, but he would go and sell in the neighborhood where his crew and team was. I just was running it where he was. So the girl I was messing with named Mildred, she knew him. So she ended up coming over to my house one time. But we all outside, me and my team and my crew. And when we get outside, she pulled up. Dude and them outside. But we were cool with each other. They respected I had that area. So they never stepped on my toes. And it was what it was. So when they saw Mil talking to me, they was like, hey, Mil, she like, hey, So I guess they was like, wanted to speak to her. Like I said, we were cool. So it wasn't no disrespect and no problem. So I'm telling Mil, I say, you know them? She like, yeah, I know them. That's my brother over there with him. I say, your real brother? She like, yeah, my real brother. You remember I was telling you about my one brother, but at the time he was locked up and stuff? I'm like, oh, yeah. I remember that. She like, that's him right there. I said, oh, word? She like, yeah. But what was crazy was I didn't know that the dude had told her brother about me because her brother was calling it for the area they was at. Now, her brother wanted to come by. Excuse me. He was scoping what I was doing, but didn't know how to approach me type stuff till he saw his sister. So they called her over there. She came over and they were telling her like, because even though me and dude was cool, he didn't ever want to get in my business. So when they saw Mildred, they called her over and Mildred talking. So they asked Mildred, like, you know him? Like, she like, yeah, this this was my boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? So then Mill, like, they asked Mill, like, ask him what he getting his work for, because she know her brother sell work. Ask him what he getting his work for, because he trying to see if he can cut in on my plug and give it to me at a cheaper price. So I end up, no, Mill end up coming over to me. She like, my brother want to speak to you. I said, oh, word? She like, yeah, he want to know, you know, where you getting your stuff from, because you know he got that too, right? So he just trying to see if you would deal with him. I said, okay, I'll holler at him. I'll see what he talking about. So me and dude meet up. She go tell him. So me and him meet up. We talking. So he like, yeah, I've been peeping you, man. You got this area over here, huh? I'm like, yeah. He like, yeah. My sister told me y'all two used to fool around with each other and things like that. I'm like, yep. He like, okay. What you copping? I say, right now, just 4.5. He like, 4.5? Okay. What you getting that for? Then I told him what I was getting the 4.5 for. You know what I'm saying? So he was like, you getting 4.5 for that much? He said, how you getting it? You getting it in hard or you getting it in soft? That's crack or powder. I said, I get it in hard. He said, damn, he charging you that much for the hard? But I believe at that time it was like 3,200. It was like 3,200 if I ain't mistaken. It's been so long. No, it wasn't. It was 27. It was 2,700 because it was in hard. It was in 27. It was 2,700. He like, yeah, he charging you 2,700 for that? I'm like, yeah. He like, man, I'll get to you for 2. I said, for real? 2? He like, yeah, I'll get to you for 2. I said, okay, bet. So I got to dealing with her brother. So now I'm getting 4.5 for him for 2. And it's crazy because, again, at the time, I still don't really know about the powder game. I don't know how to cook up the powder, but I don't care because my spot is jumping and I'm making money, more money than I ever made in my life of being some regular just street dude. So I'm popping. I got the area, so I'm popping, you know, and I'm just staying at my 4.5 ounces. You know, that's good for me. What I'm making and what I'm doing with me and my team as we starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger. As this end up happening, then word getting around the family, because I got other family in different cities. And the family and them talking like, hey, yeah, you know, your cousin Malachi doing good. You know what I'm saying? And I got these family members that was always like the big drug dealers in the family type stuff. And I always looked up to them. And I always wanted to be up under them. Cause I was a shorty. So, you know, I ain't have a father figure. So you grew up idolizing those type of family members of yours that's heavy in the game. Cause they was. But, you know, it was very gang orientated and very hostile where they was at, hustling in Chicago, you know. So it had got so bad in the warring over there that it was hard for them to make money. So they started relocating to different areas and things. So I guess that's how my name came up to some of the family. Like, hey, your brother, you know, your cousin Malachi doing real good down there out here. You know what I'm saying? So they decided to come pay me a visit without me knowing. You know how your family come in from out of town and you have to say like, hey, what's up, cuzzo? Especially since you're doing good now and you know that they bigger than you type stuff, but you ain't no little dude no more to some degree, right? So he decide this particular relative, he decided to come over my house and stay for like, it was either 2 or 3 days, something like that. But I'm thinking he there just on some visiting the family every now and then, things like that. But he really checking my operation of what I'm doing. and what I'm selling. So it was either the second or third day. And it was either second or third day. So he's seeing my spot jumping. You know what I'm saying? I got the area. So he like, oh, in his head, he like, okay, this gonna be good. Because now I got a new, and this my cousin. I know he gonna let me in. Because keeping it real though, when you dealing in drugs and things like that, you want, the game is so shifty, you want your real blood relatives with you to some degree because you feel you can trust them. You know they not the police. You know when push come to shove, y'all got each other back. You get what I'm saying? So you would choose them over homies and guys you done met along the way and things like that because you got a direct connection with them through blood. So to say that, like I said, I used to look up to these guys. So I think it was about like the third day. So cuz just like break his silence for the most part. He said, let me see what you selling. He wanted to see it, the grade of it. Cause we call good dope that butter. He said, let me see what you selling. So I showed him. He like, they going crazy over that right there? I said, yeah. He like, how much you getting that for? I said, I'm getting it for like 2 racks. He like, 2 racks for 4.5? I said, yeah. He said, listen, man. He said, I got something in the trunk that's going to make you take over the whole neighborhood. I said, I already got the neighborhood. He said, well, you're going to take over the city. How about that? If they going crazy over that, oh, they going to love this right here. And I'm like, okay, here you go. What's the catch? He say, no, I'm just going to come in partners with you. I got a better connect. He like, I got a better connect, a better plug, more drugs, better dope. So I don't want nothing from you. You ain't got to put up none of your money. You can keep and have everything you got. You already got the top, the spot jumping. You already got the clientele. We just gonna reverse the product and put out a better product. I said, let me see it. So he go pop the trunk. He had like 9 ounces of dope on him, like 9 ounces of crack. And my crack was like white. His was like golden yellow, but real solid hard. He was like, I'm telling you, when they taste this and get this, they ain't gonna want that you selling no more. So before we put that out, just get rid of what you got left and then put this out next. He said, you know what? Matter of fact, give me what you got. I'm gonna buy everything else that you got on you. Give me that. So he bought that from me. Then he said, here, put this out. Man, I put that work out. I'm gonna keep it 100, man. I couldn't even get no sleep. I couldn't get no sleep. They would not stop bamming on the door. I got the razor blade chopping up all this crack. Man, before you know it, we had flipped the whole 9 ounces. Once we was done flipping the whole 9 ounces, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. We flipped the 9, split that. Then he said, I'm finna go get a half a key. So he went and go get a half a key. Come back, pop the half a key, tilt the half a key. Then when killing a half a key, then we got up to the bird. He like, okay, I'm finna go get the bricks now. I'm happy. I'm like, oh man, I'm finna get my first key. It's a wrap. You get what I'm saying? So he go get the key. But then he called me. He said, hey, you got to send somebody to come get it because I got some business to take care of because I've been down there too long. I got to handle some stuff. Plus, I need to spend time with my girl and kids. So send somebody down here to get the brick, and then I be back up there. I said, cool. I send my brother to go get the brick. My brother get there, you know what I'm saying? And he come back. But now the dope is different. It's like white, like it was when I first was selling it. And it's not yellow no more. But here's the thing I didn't know. That all that whole while I was being played because they knew my inexperience in dope. I didn't know nothing about the powder game. I'm buying all this stuff in crack when they the ones who doubling it. They doubling the crack. I mean, doubling the powder, putting the cut on it to stretch it out of what they wanted, creating the grade, depending on what I already was selling. Like my cousin saw what I was selling to know from dealing with powder how much to cut it and hit it with to have the balance or greater grade. So when we get to the key and I get the key, my brother go pick it up. He come back with the key. I'm happy, like, I got my first key. But it come back in white. I'm like, hold on. What just happened? Where the butt at? Then he like, well, he told me this all they have for right now. So just take this right here. And then he's going to get the other and come back down. So I'm like, okay, no problem. No problem. Cool. So I get to putting that out there. Now the people complaining like, man, hey, man, this ain't no good. This ain't no good. I'm like, how it ain't no good? Like, no, this terrible. This bad. I'm like, this bad. I called Cuzzo, like, Cuzzo, what's going on? He like, man, that's all they had. That's all they had. So I'm waiting right now. I'm like, man, they complaining. So he like, ain't nothing I can do, man. Ain't nothing I can do. I'm sitting there. I'm trying to wait. So I get from making at that spot, I was making almost like 5,000 a day just off bags of crack. I'm making like almost 5,000, 5,000 to 6,000 a day off that. But then the dope was so bad, it went from 5,000 to 6,000 a day to barely, no lie, barely like $600. Barely like $600-700, like barely, because you know word get around who got the good dope, who got the bad dope. So word got to getting around like, nah, Maliki got that bad dope, man. He got, and I got a whole key of it. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I was able to get a few ounces of it off, and by the time I got a few ounces of it off, it was terrible. Word started getting around because you got to understand. I'm not selling weight at this time. I'm selling all bags. I'm like tripling my money. I'm selling all bags. So now I'm barely even making $600-700 off this dope, and I still got like a half a brick of it left. Then come to find out, my cousin had played me. He had hit the dope so hard and basically use me like to get back on his feet type stuff, or you know what I'm saying, to back doing his own thing in another city, but gave me a brick of bad dope. You get what I'm saying? So the dope had got so bad, and I was one of these hustlers. I'm gonna tell you like it is what it is. So I had let it be known like, hey, let people know I got $500 ounces because I needed to get this money back. So people coming up to me like, you selling $500 ounces? I'm like, yeah, because at the most part, they going for 700, 800, 900. They going 900 in soft. They going 700 to 800 in hard. So I'm telling people like, yeah, I got $500 ounces. So my cousin come to me like, you got $500 ounces? I'm like, yeah. He like, what's wrong with it? It's bad. I'm like, I ain't gonna even hold you, bro. It's bad. That's why I'm selling it so cheap. He like, but is it real dope? I'm like, yeah, it's real dope. They just hit it too hard. It ain't that good though, bro. He like, man, I don't care, man. I can't turn down $500 ounces. So he bought like 3, 4 of them from me. So I got the getting rid of the ounces. Then my one baby mama, she was selling dope on this other area. And she was trying her hardest to like win me over. You know what I'm saying? She was trying her hardest to win me over. And she was like, I'll help you get some of your dope off. I said, for real? I said, it's garbage though. She said, I don't care. I'll help you though. Because she had her own spot. I was like, you for real? She like, yeah, give me some of it. So I said, how much of it you want? She said, just give me a couple ounces. I gave her a couple ounces. Then she went and go sell it. But she wanted me to pay her off in sex. Cause at this time, she wasn't my baby mama. You know what I'm saying? So she like, I said, what you want for it? Like, how much you want off of each ounce? She like, you know what I want. I'm like, what you want? She like, I want some of that, you know. I'm like, dang, girl, you ain't playing no games, is you? She like, nah, I ain't playing no games, so don't play with me when I come back. She came back complaining, like, ooh, boy, this stuff is garbage. These people were complaining, they butt off. I had to mix your work up with mines, you know. I said, I told you it wasn't no good. She said, well, I don't care, forget it. We getting it off though. So she tell me her trick. She say, so what I do is somebody come get 3, I get them 1 of yours and 2 of mine. If somebody come get 4, I get them 2 of mine, 2 of yours, depending on who it is, you know. So I find a way to put it in there. So she brought me back all my money, you know what I'm saying? And all she wanted was sex. You get what I'm saying? All she wanted was sex, man. You know. And I ended up getting the dope off, but my cousin had played me real, real bad behind that. You know what I'm saying? So he played me. Remember, they've been in the dope game for a long time. So he knew my inexperience. He knew I ain't know nothing about no powder. So, cause nobody in their right mind who know the dope game, nobody in their right mind who know the dope game will buy a kilo of crack. Now, somebody confront you a kilo of crack or give you a kilo of crack, but if you're a drug dealer, you're not buying a kilo of crack. That really show your inexperience to people who know how the game go. Like, he finna buy a key of crack. Now, a person to buy an ounce, person to buy 2, you know, maybe a 4.5 of it, depending on what the price is. But for the most part, you're not buying large quantities of dope and crack. You want it in powder so you can play with it, so you can do what you need to do to stretch it and flip it, you know. And Cuz played me out that brick. So he got it. Whatever he went and do, he hit that thing like three different times. At the least, he hit it 3 times. You know, and I had to build myself up for that. But I was happy, even with the trash, because that was my first time copping a brick. Which makes me wonder, wasn't that really a brick though? Could I actually really say that was a brick, even though it might not have been that good? I don't know, man. What y'all think? But it's your boy Battle Truth, man. And I'm gonna do this series, man, called My First Time. And doing this series, I'm just gonna continue to give y'all